Hi, thanks for joining us today as we share our presentation, Rebuilding Reference Online. You never know what you're going to get. I'm Sandra Herber, Liaison Librarian for Media Studies and Creative Arts and Assessment Librarian.
And I'm Amy Weir, Manager of Learning Services. Sandra and I are the research help leads at the North and Lakeshore campuses of Humber Libraries, respectively. In March 2020, like many of you, we were faced with a critical situation: how to provide research help services to students online in a way that maintained service quality, ease of access, and a positive student experience.
On the day we closed, March 13th, our AskOn coordinator, Caleb, surveyed our AskOn chat reference team about their ability and willingness to offer research help services from home. Not only were staff willing to assist with chat research help from home, many indicated a willingness to staff additional hours in the early morning and late evenings. In our first week working from home, we formed a team in Microsoft Teams, which at the time we were all very new to, and began scheduling staff for extended Ask on All Colleges hours. We also set up booking calendars for one-on-one librarian appointments. Through April and May, we experimented with different service options and began to think about a more stable, permanent solution for September that would include all staff who offered research help and student support when we were on campus.
Developed in July and August, our research help staffing strategy was launched in fall 2020, and it still seems to be working very well. Our strategy includes the following. First and foremost, we have maintained our commitment to staffing Humber's Ask On All Colleges research help chat shifts. We took advantage of Ask On's Home Team First, or HTF feature, which enables Humber operators to answer Humber user questions only. We staffed HTF until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and until 8 p.m. Fridays, with 2 HTF operators during the busiest hours, and from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekends. These shifts, typically 1 hour each, are staffed by both full and part-time library technicians and librarians. On weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., another staff member is scheduled each hour to be on standby for one-on-one video chat research help. Humber students who request or would benefit from a video chat rather than text can be connected immediately with the one-on-one video chat operator through Microsoft Teams. We formed a fabulous team of cross-campus schedulers who build and maintain our ever-evolving research help schedule.
To support communication, staff members sharing a shift create a Microsoft Teams chat to communicate and support one another. We host weekly team meetings on Friday mornings, which cover topics related to ongoing training, team building, sharing of best practices, and even celebrations. To facilitate ongoing discussion throughout the week, we utilize a Teams channel within Microsoft Teams. All staff can ask questions, help troubleshoot, and swap shifts. It's been amazing to see how quickly staff jump in to assist one another. Channels within our Microsoft Teams also allow us to share and organize content in one place. Documents outlining procedures, Humber-specific canned messages, and other documents can be shared, accessed, and updated with ease.
After all the team's hard work providing research help services over the last year, it became clear that there were benefits to our new practices beyond student support. Some of the surprising positive outcomes were a much more cohesive, collaborative team across both campuses. Staff have repeatedly commented on how connected and supportive the team has been, and we have seen a much better integration of part-time staff. Thanks to weekly meetings, ongoing chat conversations, and daily information sharing, part-time staff feel more appreciated, part of a team, and supported.
We have focused on professional and skills development on a weekly basis, and the results are showing. Staff are now more confidently answering questions from all subject areas, even from programs that are not offered at their home campus. Lastly, challenges can be addressed or adjusted for immediately. Chat transcripts and staff discussions within the team alert us to new assignments and challenging questions, and we can follow up with tips or best practices immediately and discuss in depth at weekly meetings.
In a challenging situation like this, you never know what you're going to get. Not only did our team take on the challenge of continuing to provide great service to our users, but we collectively achieved professional and collaborative success too.
Hello and welcome to my talk on virtual displays with Sway. My name is Anna Standish. My pronouns are she or they, and I am the Public Services and LLC Outreach Technician at George Brown College, located on Dish with One Spoon territory in Toronto. So library displays. They are something we do a lot without saying much about why we do it. We copy visual merchandising from bookstores where guidelines call for clean stacks of books covers out at waist height, incite customers to grab an item without hesitation. And we also craft visually abundant scenes like department store window dressings to inject a little humanity into our otherwise institutional environments. And we have made plenty of purely virtual showcases since the early days of the public internet, whether or not we think of our LibGuides and Pathfinders that way. We use our displays to make it easier for a patron to discover a new favorite, to humanize ourselves, to platform our communities, and to make our structures, both physical and online, easier to navigate. And these goals often go hand in hand. Now, this year has seen a lot of ingenuity in window displays, grab bags, digital book lists, and virtual exhibits, but with access to display cases so restricted, we've lost a site for serendipitous discovery, a showcase for student talent, and a creative outlet for ourselves. When considering virtual alternatives, we're short on online tools that are easy to use, accessible, and which support some of the creative flexibility of a display case, but Microsoft Sway might come close enough. So what is Sway? It is an online application for digital storytelling. A quick and easy way to create multimedia microsites. You can think of it as like a web-native alternative to PowerPoint. All you need is a free Microsoft account, though the full version is included in Office 365. I'm not going into demo mode here, but I did build this presentation in Sway, and it will include further resources if you follow the link later on. Now, some good things that I can say about Sway are that it has a very gentle learning curve and a simple WYSIWYG interface. You can embed an impressive range of media, accessibility is well supported, and all Sways are easy to share, to view, or collaborate. You can even embed a Sway within Blackboard. For a virtual library display, it is easy to combine links to e-resources with highlights from archives, podcasts, news, and social media in a seamless flow with commentary and context. And if you set your style to horizontal, the sideways scroll can feel a little like you're ambling from one end of a long display case to another. Some less good things that I can say about Sway are that the design controls are very limited. So images go a long way to set the tone, and a little skill in graphic design will pay off. Like the late Clippy, Sway can try too hard to be helpful, and honestly, the suggestions panel can be unrelenting. The worst thing I can say about Sway is that it has no support for drafts, versioning, or archives. So you can export a Sway, but trust me that falls on the wrong side of the migration-preservation divide. Duplicates are going to be your best bet for backups and archives, unfortunately. Now, as for analytics, Sway does give you counts of views, completion rates. There's an estimate of engagement depth. That's more than you can get then for a physical display, and you can always embed a survey form in a Sway to request more feedback. Honestly, Sway's metrics are surprisingly appropriate in this surveillance capitalism hellscape, and you may find a Sway is even more respectful of your users' online privacy than your own website may be. Some best practices to close this out would be keep your images and uploaded files small to save load time for the pages. Minimize animation if you can, turn off the autoplay, and avoid high contrast header images to dodge some of the more common accessibility snags that won't be caught by the automated checker. Preview your Sway on a mobile device and play with the size of your browser window to check content order and emphasis, and make sure that your public links are view only to ward off the accidental vandalism of a visitor who clicks on edit by mistake. And lastly, give yourself time to be playful and creative, because Sway is built to go from 0 to done in very short order, but if you have space to tinker and experiment, this little app can do some rather fun and impressive things. So thank you very much for listening. You can find the presentation for the Sway for this presentation at bit.ly/connect5sway or CONNECT the number 5, and then SWAY, which will include more tutorials and examples. I hope you enjoy the rest of your conference.
Hi, my name is Haley Wyman. I'm the User Services Librarian at Seneca College, and thank you for joining me in my presentation today on discovering the library through Discover Us. So, like many people, when COVID started, we had a number of issues to contend with. I mean, the list is countless. But some of those issues were the lack of connection between students and staff. We had a new chat service that students thought was staffed by bots, which was very unfortunate. We have the sheer amount of communications that was going into students, especially at the beginning of the year, all of that onboarding content for students. So there's a ton of information for them going out that way. And I mean, so many other issues. And because of this, we had Discover Us. Discover Us was a weekly interactive video series that was hosted right on our library website that featured short clips about our services and different things you could find through the library, and it was done by our library technicians. So we wanted to deliver content to students at their point of need throughout the year. So for example, we started with Ask Us, which is our chat service. It's a great place to start if you have questions and you're not sure what to do. We got into citation supports at the beginning as well. The main library search was one of the earlier ones, and then as the semester went on, we got a little bit more complex and a little bit more into the services when they needed them. For example, at the very end, we also included the learning portal and a lot of the stress management stuff that the learning portal could offer them. All right, so why did we do this? There were a number of reasons. Like I said, we saw the value of having a friendly face. We wanted to reinforce to our students that the people that are in Ask Us, the ones that are talking to them, are real people. They are still the same people that they saw on campus or maybe have never seen because they've never been to our campus. So reinforcing that. We did have some great anecdotes, which I'm going to share. And we had the added thing too that we got to expand the skill set of a lot of our technicians. They got to learn how to record videos, how to be on camera, and kind of do this as well. Okay, so the details of how we did this. We built it all in H5P and Premiere Rush. So we did want the videos to be interactive, and of course, accessibility was incredibly important to us. And so that's why we landed with H5P. We were able to put the videos into it. We were able to make sure they were well captioned, and we were able to add in little interactions when we could. So things like, what is one of the resources available for citation supports? So we got that added kind of feedback from them. And then also it gave us the ability to kind of link in things so the students were able to enter a contest to win a gift card at the end of the semester. All of the staff were given kind of like a guide sheet that outlined to them what they needed to do, how they should film, things like film in landscape, position your face, things like that, with certain points that they should hit. So, they were all instructed, mention that this is the Discover Us video series they should watch each week, remind them to enter the contest, and then the different points based on their topics. Different staff had different requests that I helped them with as well. So some went with a very, just a few point form notes to go through their video, and some wanted very detailed scripts. So I catered to both of them for that. The staff just had to record the videos, and then they sent them to me, and I put them together, and I did all of the uploading and captioning and editing for them. And what was really great to see is we had students who would come and they would watch a couple of the videos, and then they would do their entries, and then they would come back later in the semester and do some more. So not only did we have students participating, but we had students actually actively coming back throughout the semester. We saw that sustained presence from them, which was really great. We got really great feedback from other staff that we had that were really excited to see some of our technicians in the videos. And we did actually have students picking up on the fact that the people in the videos and the people in the chat were the same. I think my favorite comment I got was that someone started talking to one of our technicians and said, "Hey, I just watched your Discover Us video," which was amazing to see that it's actually working and people were watching the videos and making those connections, which was super important to us. So thank you for watching this. If you would like to reach out to me for questions, here's my email for you. Thank you.
In February, Centennial College Libraries and Learning Center's Promotion and Events team successfully hosted our first ever Virtual Games Week for students. Prior to the pandemic, our in-person International Games Week events were always a big hit with our students. With the closure of our physical library spaces last spring, we knew that students were really missing the engagement and connection of campus life. So we thought, why not build on our previous successes and adapt our in-person events so that we could play online? Equipped with this idea and lots of enthusiasm, we got to work.
Our first step was to form a working group from within our Promotions and Events Committee. Although none of our members had extensive online gaming experience, we gradually built up our expertise. After choosing to host the event during Centennial's Reading Week in February, we had 2.5 months to plan. Our first big task was to research and choose the online games to play with students. We came up with the following criteria. Online games must be free or very low cost with minimal ads, multiplayer, minimal downloads or account setup needed, and easy to facilitate and play. Initially, we explored online versions of traditional board games found in our library collection, such as Settlers of Catan, Monopoly, Pandemic, and others. Although online versions of these games exist, we found that there were limitations, such as paid content, inability to host more than a few players at a time, and the need to set up an account to play. With some more research and several discussion and demo meetings, our final game choices were Pictionary, Codenames, Chess, and Trivia. We also chose to host our game sessions using Microsoft Teams, since it's widely used at our college and students have to authenticate with their student credentials before joining any live meetings.
Next, we turned our time, focus, and energy to creating a robust promotion strategy. A key component of this strategy was creating a virtual display that students could refer to and explore. It quickly became the game's event hub with the following key information: the schedule of game sessions with a description of the games, relevant library resources, our library's Twitter feed, other online games and gaming platforms for students to check out, and the student registration form. We also collaborated with our college's marketing department to design a Games Week logo, and this can be reused for future events. Another part of our promotion strategy was to collaborate with other areas of the college and use as many promotional channels as possible, including Libraries and Learning Center's Twitter, Centennial College's social media, including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, the college's events app for students, student communities on Microsoft Teams, the library website, and a college-wide student email broadcast. We knew that our promotional strategy was working when we got a steady stream of student registrations coming in every day. In total, there were 76 registrants for our event.
After 2.5 months of planning, it was finally game time. For our first Virtual Games Week event, we started small and held one game session per day. Here are a few tips that helped us to facilitate each game session smoothly. Choose a partner for co-hosting the game. Do a practice run with the working group. Use breakout rooms if the game requires smaller groups. Use visuals, short demo videos, and music to make the sessions more accessible and dynamic. Have multiple staff present for answering chat questions, taking attendance, and backing up the main presenter. A few other lessons we learned along the way were: send participants a reminder email on the day of each game, explain the rules and gameplay in simple terms and leave time for questions, and be prepared for technical difficulties.
Everyone loves prizes, right? Our small budget allowed for $5 e-gift cards to be given out as prizes. We gave out one gift card per game session and one for the feedback survey. Our last step was to collect some feedback from students to see what worked and where we could improve. We designed a short 5-question survey sent out by email to all students who registered for Games Week. Here's some of the feedback we received from the survey. How did you find out about the Games Week online event? Which live sessions did you attend? If you could not attend, what was the reason for not attending? How did you find the Games Week event overall?
Our first ever Virtual Games Week was a success. Students were engaged, we had fun, and yes, we totally would do it again. If you're considering running a Virtual Games Week at your library, here's our advice. Allow 2 to 3 months for planning. You don't need to be an online gaming expert, but you do need a willingness to learn and explore.
Create a well-thought-out promotional strategy. Build on the strengths of your team members and collaborate with others outside the library where possible. Get feedback from participants to inform your future events.
Even though our own Games Week is done, we aim to continue our engagement online through future virtual Games Weeks. Our plan is to expand the event and explore more options, such as higher tier paid online game content, offering more game sessions per week, and finding fully accessible online games.
From this presentation, we hope you have some takeaways for planning and hosting a virtual gaming event of your own. It's a great way to add a little levity and fun to the day-to-day routine of both students and staff, especially in this present-day online environment.
Let the games begin at your library.
Hi, my name is Joy Wen from George Brown College. I'm here to present on the Virtual Study Hall initiative we piloted during the winter semester of 2021. First, I want to give a loud shout out to my colleagues who helped to make it happen. A big thank you to my fellow GBC library team. Next, I'm going to talk about how it started, the preparation, promotion, and delivery process, as well as feedback and lessons learned. The idea came up when we were working from home. There were reports of students having problems with self-motivation. So we're thinking maybe we can provide a virtual space that mirrors the physical settings of the library for students to study and socialize together. The goal is for them to build some structure into their daily routine, get support from our staff, socialize with their peers if they want, and as a result, they may get motivated and take off some of the stress. The preparation started in November 2020 and spilled over into the first 3 weeks of the winter semester. There were a lot of decision making like when to start, frequency, platform, etc. For documentation, we created a space in SharePoint and put all documents there. When the documentation is ready, we started staff training 2 weeks before the pilot. It included a synchronized training, a step-by-step procedure document, and the BB Collaborate practice room that opens for the whole semester. The promotion started in week 3, 1 week before the pilot. This is a campaign poster created using Microsoft Sway. Thanks, Anna and Christina. We promoted through multiple channels and had a total of 164 registrations. The most effective tool, obviously, is Blackboard. The actual delivery started from week 4 and lasted till the end of the winter semester. Students who registered for study hall got an email confirmation with links to the session, instructions to use the study hall, and information about our code of conduct. Our staff members set up the rooms, and when students came, they pushed out welcome messages, instructions, and other canned messages. This is a screenshot of what students see when they enter the study hall reception area. This is what they see when they enter the quad study hall. The attendance, however, was not what we had expected. Most of the times we only have 1 or 2 students, sometimes none. So we thought maybe they forgot and we started to send reminders before the session. That didn't seem to help much. One of the librarians, Sandra Hall, brought her events to the virtual study hall. That increased the number a bit, but when we don't have events, the numbers dropped again. We had a post-event survey trying to understand why. When being asked about their preference, many students prefer a 24/7 platform where they can freely log in and out with minimal supervision, or extended hours and more activities. When asked why did you miss the session, most said they forgot the session time didn't work out or couldn't find a partner to go together. There's some nice comments, but seems the problem is there weren't enough students in the first place to make the concept work. We actually had 164 students register, which seems to be a fair number, but the problem is how to make them show up. Based on the feedback, it seems students don't necessarily study when we want them to study. We defined certain hours on certain days for them to study, and of course they forgot. So maybe a 24/7 platform with minimal staff intervention is better suited for the spontaneous nature of students. More activities will definitely help. We're initially thinking of a monthly mini event, but later gave it up due to staffing constraint. We're also thinking to create a message wall using Padlet for students to interact with each other. But with the low attendance, there's no point to do it. But if these activities were added as regulars to the virtual study hall, things might be different. Bringing in other departments can be another good way to either add more activities or extend service scope and service hours. As I mentioned in my session summary, this may not be the kind of success story people expected to hear, but we're sharing it so those who are thinking to do similar initiatives may learn something from our experience. Thank you for listening. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions or comments.